Morning. So, yeah, shamanism.
Yes. That was going to be our topic for today, shamanism,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of people that are into shamanism, but I'm wondering if it's because there's many different perspectives on shamanism these days.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, see shamanism. There's the sort of the textbook shamanism, where people are talking about their power animals and
Yeah.
walking on the grass and drinking ayahuasca and things like that. And then
You're reading
there's
my
the
mind. I was going to
shamanism that
say,
I do. then there's the shamanism that I do, but you're never really in your body. You're somewhere out there in the multidimensional universe somewhere,
well, that was one of the
To
original
me,
definitions, isn't it? Somebody who walks both worlds,
that's
really.
right. Walks both worlds, yeah. Works with the spirits. The spirits choose you.
Yeah.
And so you'll get a calling, and from then on your job really is to rest, be centered and be mindful and be open to the spirits, what they need to say, to guide you, to teach you, or whatever. So they'll answer your mind questions. They'll answer what's really in your heart. What's my next step? What do I have to do with this here? Do I have a purpose? Where am I from? Am I a starseed? Yada, 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 yada. So many questions that we have, these days as a species, so many, because we're remembering, Laura. We've got so much to remember. We seem to have forgotten a great deal, a universe, quantum of forgetfulness, and so we're remembering, and we're on the precipice now of coming back into our full selves. I like to say coming back into our full selves. So our guides are important, and we must trust them. They'll guide us towards that. They'll lead us into that. We don't really have to do a great deal. Just ask the questions, listen to the answers.
Remain
Yeah.
consistent about it. If you do it every day, you end up building that connection much stronger.
Well, this
But I
is
do think it's
it.
funny. As soon as you started talking about the spirits, we started having a bit of feedback issues. They were starting to like the glitching of the
Oh,
camera and all
yeah.
that.
I
As
kind of
soon as
heard
you
that
start
we
coding
click,
them, we
click,
have all
clicking.
kinds of technical
Yeah,
issues.
yeah. I mean, the extraterrestrials do that. That
Oh
sort
yeah.
of that beyond the ninth dimension. When
Mm-hmm.
you're out of the sort of the human realm and out of that sort of natural realm, that we can naturally go to. So, the spirit realms that we see all around us, and that once we go beyond that and we don't have any body, we can just move then into the stars and into non-being, and the extraterrestrials are communicating with us through that realm, and then we can receive it then down to the eighths and the sevenths and the sixths, and this is the sixth, the third eye. So we can receive it, what they're talking about through that. But that clicking and that sort of like a little mouse go, that's them. Laura, did I
It's
ever
for
tell
the
you
Fae
about?
because there's a lot of. I mean, you're in Ireland as well. I'm sure there's a lot of Fae and other elementals around too. So you get both
Yes,
types.
yes, and they're in the sort of 10 and 11 as well, those elemental realms, but they're, tied to the earth, really, really connected to the earth. A lot of them were kind of imprisoned underground for a very, very long time, for eons, and now, they were mostly released, I think, in the last decade. Would you agree? In the sort of the
Yeah.
2000s,
Well, the
2
frequencies
decades
are
ago,
shifting.
actually.
It does sort of help them in many ways with the frequencies going up.
Yeah. Well, the thing about releasing the elementals is you release a lot of dark elementals as well,
Oh, we've seen those.
mischievous elementals too. So, but
Yes,
hey,
you get the little. We even found an
yeah,
angry leprechaun once, like a very creepy
an
version of a
angry
leprechaun.
leprechaun. Yeah.
Yeah, it was in
I
Australia of all places, hiding under somebody's sink. And I
well,
still told him to
Australia's full
break
of
the
Irish,
thing.
are they not?
They're
Australia's full of
everywhere.
Irish people. Oh yes, we know our leprechauns. Yeah, very much so. And the little fairy folk, I remember little gnomes and stuff like that
We
too.
did try
And
to
and I,
relocate them when they find themselves in a precarious place, because there's a lot of it's just everything
yeah,
is growing so quickly, and we're encroaching on their lands even more. And so
yeah,
there's not as much space for them. And what do? They
that's
come here
right.
and mess with us.
That's right. You see, Black Elk just told me this now. For those who don't know me, of course I'm Eliza White Buffalo. Black Elk is my twin flame in the spirit realm. So, he's my spirit within. He's my life guide. He's a shaman guide. He's lots of things to me, and he talks to me consistently. So he just said that, because I was going to tell you, Laura, about one time that I was in the forest beside me here, and there was lots of little elementals were hiding in the trees as I walked along, and I could hear them laughing. And I could see, the way you can see out of the corner of your eye without turning your head. So I could
Yeah.
see these little lights flickering, all different colors, all flickering, and I could hear this sound was like laughter, but it was like the bubbling of a brook, that kind of laughter, that that there was stones.
Aww.
And every time I turned my head, it would stop. It was so funny. But Black Elk just told me there that, because she says, they were encroaching on their lands. Yeah, because we're on a journey to back into our elemental selves, and to find that connection so we can create and manifest in that, and create a better world for ourselves, really, and for our children. But they, who I suppose in some realms are separate from us, but are truly never separate from us, but in that sort of underworld, Middle Earth realm, in itself, they are looking at us and thinking, what? Who? What? And shall I allow them presence here or not? So
I guess it depends if they're going to steal your stuff or not.
Yeah, well, this is it. And we might actually have a very big presence where they're concerned, because they're so small yet so powerful, and we're so huge and yet so clumsy, probably to them, So and just in their way. And do they know that we actually would want to know all about them? Do they know that? So Black Elk is just saying, that there's questions on their side too whenever they meet a human, and the size of us and the heaviness of us and the clumsiness of us.
Oh yeah.
The ignorance of us,
I imagine
but
they like the
me,
humans.
that's not shamanism.
Yeah, there's humans that know about them. We leave them gifts and make them little fairy houses,
Yeah.
and leave them a space for their own, and
That's
plant them
right.
flowers and stuff like
And
that. And
the Irish
good
people are becoming more and more back into communion with them, than before. But it's all a very sad thing. The other day, there's a beach that I like to go to in the Republic of Ireland, and on the way to that beach, there's a big house with a lovely lawn stretching up, and there's an old, I think it is a hawthorn tree, an old hawthorn tree in the center of it, and it's a fairy tree, and it's called the Fairy Tree House. It's been called that for decades. And drove past it the other day, and the tree's not there. And I thought, oh
Interesting.
gosh, what have you done? All hell's going to break out in that house.
Did they cut it down?
They cut it down. So I don't know, was the house, did it have a new owner? Did the tree fall in the storm? If it did, I would have left it there and let the elementals take care of it, But anyway, so that's that. But shamanism.
What kind of consequences could you see from doing something like that, cutting down a sacred tree of theirs?
Well, there's a lot of sort of suspicions, in Ireland, but they're only suspicions, really. You can't really buy into that stuff too much. It's certainly not buying into negativity, but you'll hear things such as new babies being swapped for changelings, and people getting suddenly ill and things like that, or being robbed, losing your money. You could lose a lot.
All the fae come and raid your house in the night.
Yeah. And then the fairies will come and pull your hair when you're sleeping, Did you ever?
Have you ever heard? Yeah, very angry.
I have heard of this. I've heard of this, Lara. Not a client, it was a friend from Facebook, contacted me one time to say she woke up with scratches on her face and arms. And apparently the fairies can do that as well. So they pull your hair and they'll scratch you, So anyway, I have to say it's never happened to me.
I imagine not. I imagine
extraterrestrials. I meet a lot of extraterrestrial at night, and I have a beautiful sound chamber, healing chamber in the southeast corner of my garden. It's a sound chamber. It's where people commune, in the darkness, and just a tiny little hole in the ceiling, and you make sacred sound with your mouth with different instruments or whatever, singing, whatever, affirmations, whatever, chanting. And all of that good energy and sound goes out into the cosmos, you see. So it must be on a place that relates to your solar plexus. Yeah. That's very important. So it becomes sort of the higher solar plexus, which is, this area here, just where your ribs meet. It's between your heart and your solar plexus. And it's where that fountain of rainbow energy comes from, the rainbow bridge even, it's like, when we're just talking about rainbows and
I was going to say the rainbow bridge is very real. We do a lot of animal crossings
and leprechauns
need to be crossed over, and we see the rainbow bridge.
Of course the rainbow bridge is very real, but what is it? It's your energy field, and it's all those colors, from your vibrant chakras, when they're three-dimensionally really, really working and spinning in a positive manner. Sure, all those colors are filling your aura, your energy field, and it's a rainbow. So the rainbow bridge takes you from the physical out here into the spiritual within, so it takes you deep into the inner realms. A lot of people think the spiritual realms are out there. There's still some people that would think that, especially those people that are in the fourth dimension, they've just had some kind of
I did kind of refer to it as down here, like we're the frequency, either way,
Well, we've all been through that, have we not, Lara? Do you remember a time, I mean, I do, it might have been about 30 years ago, where I thought, you come out of your body and you go out into the spiritual realms way up in the sky, But
I used to think that, and then I found out you're not even in your body. Your body is like a drone. You're like a drone pilot. You're sending a signal. Yeah. Your brain is just the receiver. That's you're not even in here.
You're not even in here. You're not even you're not even a thing. You're just a consciousness,
Yes,
but,
exactly.
So whenever I was a child, you see, I used to come out of my body a lot, or so I thought, come out of my body a lot and go to the spiritual realms where I'd connect with Black Elk and we'd talk about a lot of things, and he taught me a lot of things and he showed me a lot of things. He showed me his great vision when I was 9 years old. That's the age he was in 1873, 1872. 1872. He was 9 years old, and he had a great vision, and he showed me that whenever I was 9. It's just an example of how your life guide and your shaman guide, if they're both the same, will actually guide you and help you and take you out of your body and into the interdimensional universe and teach you and show you and reveal things and show you the way for your own life, for your own highest good, But shamanism to me,
my experience.
Was that your experience?
Yeah. I was pulled out of body.
Yeah. Oh yes, that to me, that's shamanism, is working with the spirits, traveling with the spirits, healing through the inner dimensions as well. And really, it's not so much knowledge, but you gain the knowledge as you go, because you do ask the questions like, where am I now? Well, what does it feel like? And you get all sorts of answers. So you were taken out of your body, Laura?
It was the very first night I lived in England. I moved to England, and the very, very first night I was there, I had an out-of-body experience. I was pulled out of my body. I call it like an involuntary astral projection, because I was not. Well, apparently my guides were trying to get my attention, and I wasn't listening, so they literally pulled me out.
You were taking 3.
Yeah, and it was very intense. They told me all kinds of things about myself and my history and the history of Earth. And they told me about Pleiadians and reptilians, and I was like, this is insane. Like, I didn't believe a word of it, really, until I woke up, and then I started Googling it. I started researching what Pleiadians were. Like, what the Pleiadian? I had never heard of a Pleiadian in my life.
Right.
And then I get up and I find Barbara Marciniak's book talking about the very planet that they mentioned. She said she was from Era. And I nearly fell out of my chair, because that's exactly the planet they said I was from, Era in the Pleiades. And that's when I realized it was real.
That it's real. Of course it's real. All dimensions are real.
It shook the whole foundation of my reality to find out it was real.
This is real. This physical dimension is real too. But that means it's a reality. And reality is a hologram. And we see this one as physical and as, solid almost, because this is the one that we're giving our most attention to. Yeah. But if you were taken out of your body and you were taken to Era or the Pleiades, then the Pleiades would almost look solid as well to you.
Yeah.
It's the one that you're giving your most attention to.
From above. It looked just like Earth, except there was less water. It was very green.
Every dimension is a reality. Black Elk always says to me too, there are as many realities as there are breaths you have taken, because every single reality that is a moment in time and space, whether it's spiritual only or whether it's a physical moment, it is a reality. And, as we're speaking now, since 3 o'clock for me, 3 in the afternoon, it's 25 minutes. How many moments is that? How many seconds is that? Every single one of those is a reality. So that's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of realities just in 25 minutes. And every single one of them is recorded in time and space. Every single one of them. So a shaman can go there at will. Yes. But they need their guides.
We've got Alan in the comments. Alan says reptilians are running the world. Not for long.
Well, they think they're running the world. They're running the world that everybody's afraid of, but we're not afraid.
we're causing a shift here. We're making big changes that I think a lot of people are ready for, but unexpected. It's very difficult to keep your optimism.
Blackout just said, we're only allowing them. We're only playing ball with them for a while until we show them our true colors. Yes. And then they'll all stand back. And hopefully when they do, they'll, I suppose, what would be the right word? Wake up, for want of a better phrase. Hopefully then they'll wake up, because they too are the light of the world. They just...
their source just
know it. They're not showing it. Yeah, they're showing the other side of that. They're showing a dark side of themselves. We've all got dark sides equal to our light, because that's the nature of the universe.
Balance.
Dark and light. Balance. Twin flames. Yeah.
The universe keeps its own rap sheet, so to speak. It's keeping balance,
just
in ways unexpected.
I wanted to say to you that, for quite a few years now, because I had done so many soul activations and recalibrations and things like that for so long, past life readings, soul retrievals, all of that. I'd done all that stuff for so long. And a few years ago, Black Elk said to me that he wants me to go back to my true shamanism, and just really get right down deep into my body with that. So now he has me, Lara, this has happened since I last spoke to you. Now he has me doing what I am calling a consultation with Black Elk, where, there's a lot of people nowadays that are suffering with prolonged illness or illnesses that have suddenly appeared out of, this last 5 years with all these viruses and that. So all that stuff's going on, and a lot of people are quite ill. And
a lot of people are leaving at this time.
Yeah, a lot of people are leaving. And so the people that are staying, he wanted to give them hope. He wanted to give them understanding into why these illnesses have happened so acutely and are so prolonged in them, so that they don't despair, so that they don't think, oh, all that good work was for nothing, all of that sort of stuff. So he and I will go right into that person's body and go into their stomach if that's what's ailing them or whatever.
We call this psychic surgery.
We were in a lady's spine there. Not even so much psychic surgery where doctors working through me, but he and I will literally enter their spine. Like a wee bit like, did you ever see that movie? I can't mind the name of it, where the people were in a little spaceship and the spaceship was injected into a person's, it was shrunk to the size of an atom.
Flashbacks now. Yes, you're
sorry. What did you say? I didn't catch that.
Like that, yeah.
Yeah, so the spaceship was injected then into the person's body and went into all their brain and their spine and everywhere, So it's a wee bit like that. That's what we do, So we move through those parts of their body that is ill, and we clean it up. We find the reason. We give that, bring it back and give that understanding to the person so that they can get on board with that and heal
they know
themselves.
Which one you're talking about. Inner Space, it's called. Inner Space.
Inner Space. Oh, that's the name of the movie. Yes, who said that?
That is Michelle. Michelle said that first.
Oh, good woman, Michelle. That was it. Inner Space. You've got a good memory. My memory's shit. My memory's terrible. But so that's what we're doing now, and I must say I love it. I love shamanism. I love journeying. I love that. just the relief from the boredom of human life, I suppose.
The monotony of it anyway, just the repeated cycles that we're constantly stuck in.
It's the, we crave joy now more than ever, because of everything that's going on. And, I had a laugh at the post on your page there, Lara, about the, person coming to your house with all the woes of the world. What's wrong with the world? And you're like, no, we don't do that shit here. Yes. But it's the first thing in everybody's mind, when they meet you and they're like, how you doing? And what about you? And how's it going? And then, hey, what about this business with Iran? And what about this blah, 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 blah? And you're like, no, don't do that shit here.
That's what they want, though. They want us to focus on the doom and gloom, They want us to focus on all the negative stuff, so we manifest more negative stuff.
Yeah, of course. And it's fruitless. I mean, we all know what's going on. We all know that physically right now, there's nothing that we can do about it. But when we all know that in the inner realms, in the inner space, Michelle, we can, we're very powerful. We're very powerful, and we can make changes to the world, because the changes that we make to our own energy field, we make to the global energy field. It's as simple as that, because I am that.
What was that quote? You want to change the world? Change inside yourself first.
Right.
Your inner world reflects the outer world.
To see in the world, yeah.
Yep.
So I go for peace. I go for joy. I go for balance. I go for what's happening in this very moment, here and now. And this is my life. But we're all craving more joy now, because, we get up in the morning, you turn on your television set or whatever, or you meet somebody in the street and it's doom and gloom. So turn those things off, turn them off, and just go for a walk amongst the trees. Go and lie down in the waves of the ocean, lie down in the grass and sink into it, really, really sink into it, and, and become grass, become a blade of grass, one of the most humble beings in the universe, a blade of grass. Become that, because I am that,
Beautifully said, Eliza. Coming back to ourselves, one of the most important things we can do for ourselves right now, and it's all involving that self-care. Yeah.
I do like to be the poet, and my writing is all very poetic. Black Elk loved poetry, In 1936, that was when John G. Neihart came to Black Elk and asked him a lot of questions, and Black Elk told about the vision that he had of this time. And what was going to say? Oh my goodness, senior moment.
Black Elk's vision.
No, what were we talking about? We're talking about being a blade of grass. Oh, poetry. And John G. Neihart he's a poet laureate. He was poet laureate at that time, and he wrote the book Black Elk Speaks. I don't have the book here. He wrote the book Black Elk Speaks. It's the native people's Bible, really, so it is. So Black Elk always said that he would love to be able to write poetry like John, like he called him his nephew. He'd love to be able to write poetry and this and that. And he has written some wonderful poems through me, some unbelievable poems, just doing anything at all, cooking dinner or no matter what, he would say, right, sit down, get a pen and paper, write this down. This poem would come out, this beautiful poem. And he's very good. So I'm very good. I'm a very good writer, and I can write poetry as well, thanks to Black Elk's desires,
It's supposed to be your poetry about nature, then, I take it.
Sorry?
Is it about nature? Your favorite way, the poetry?
Would have seen his poetry. There's lots of different ones. My favorite one is the one that I haven't got it here, so I can't quote it. It's called "Hey Grandpa," and it's about the old way of life and smoking Craic, which was a certain type of tobacco that they smoked, and eating raw liver from the buffalo and stuff like that, and the cured meat from the buffalo and stuff, It's just that lovely memories that, the Native Americans, certainly Black Elk, had from the old way of life, when
they were better expressing gratitude than express the amount of gratitude that they expressed for everything that they received is really beautiful, and it's something that is very teaching for the rest of us, to give thanks for everything they received.
That's right. Did you know that the native Lakota tribe, I can't remember which band it was, but it was Lakota, but there was also, was it, I can't remember what other tribe it was, but during the 1940s or the 1840s in Ireland, when we had the famine, the Great Famine, they sent over a lot of money to help the Irish people, Did you know about the famine in Ireland?
I was going to say, was it a famine, or because a lot of people?
Yeah, it was in the it began 1845, I think, and it was when the potato crop, which is our staple diet, that had a blight in it from Colorado beetles. So we can thank you to Colorado for that and their beetles. But somehow this Colorado beetle got over and it ruined the potatoes. So there was no potatoes left to eat. But all
the other food was being taken by the English too.
We had a lot of British plantations, and most of the Irish people were just renting from the land, the British landlords. And they kept all the best food for themselves. They gave us very little. They collected taxes and rents, and it just kept going up and up and up. The Irish people had nothing. Hence, that is why so many of them went on the ships to America, especially the young people, because they were dying. They were dying off. These are my ancestors. Not that long ago. So I never take food for granted. I never take what I have for granted. That's important. So anyway, that's not shamanism, but the ancestors, yes. Yeah. Shamans.
There's a lot of healing that is still occurring from this. There's still a lot of deeper understanding that we're trying to achieve through all of this. Because our history has been tainted in ways that we don't even realize.
That's right. But our ancestors are important. Shamans do give great importance to the ancestors and gratitude and glory, and praise to the ancestors. Because without them, we would not have a stable leg to stand on. People talk about, astral projection and going into the stars and raising their vibration and yada, yada, and all those things, and it is very, very easy to get terribly ungrounded. Especially when you're hell-bent on, that's not a good choice of word, especially when you're determined to really buy into a new earth and change everything. Because you cannot change this world if you're not standing on anything solid. So as you're climbing that ladder, you see if those bottom rungs aren't solid and stable, and there's nothing holding on to that ladder, you're going to come crashing down. So it's your roots are so, so important. Your biological family, so important. Your biological ancestors, your spiritual ancestors, so important. it doesn't mean you have to be in your family's bosom. It doesn't mean that you have to be, because a lot of people that are wakening up now, it's because they've sought a higher way, a better way of life, probably because they've been different as a child, and so there's been some kind of pain there, or whatever. So a lot of people reject their Christianity, reject their religions, reject their upbringing, their biological family. And that's not a good thing to do, because then you've got nothing that's stabilizing you at all, So you don't have to be in its pocket, but just accept that that's a part of you, and grow from there. Grow that, change that. Yeah.
There's a lot of ancestral healing that is also occurring, where we do the healing within ourselves, and we even send healing down our ancestral line.
That's right. Yeah. One of the healing rituals that I channeled was healing the family soul, and that's exactly what it is: healing the ancestors, clearing your karma, the karma of your family, the karma of your spiritual ancestors, your past lives, healing all of that stuff, because we all came into this life with so much of it. I think there are babies being born now that don't have karma, that aren't are not carrying karma.
Most star seeds don't have any karma. They came in here with a clean slate.
Yeah, that's right. We came with a clean slate in the first place, Mm-hmm. I came here the last time, that I became a hybrid and then all human, from Sirius B. Which, there was some bad there were some bad skitters from there, but I came, and I came into Lemuria first, and then I came into Lemuria as an ox. And then a human being, Lemurian lifetimes, and then I entered the project for the experiment for Atlantis, on one of those 12 islands of Atlantis, and that's where my Sirius B energy really kicked in, and I would say I fell from grace and failed the project, and came into the error of human ways, and had some growing to do after that. That's what my second book's about, the four ascents, the ascent, falling from grace and then the climb back out of it. But it's not about me, really. It's about everybody's fall from grace and how they climb back out of it.
I was going to say that's a very common theme for this planet, especially for what we call the starseed veterans, the extraterrestrial souls that have come here a long time ago.
Yeah. If it's happening with you, it's happening with everybody.
Yes.
Because, okay, there might be some personal things, but if something spiritual is becoming true for you, is becoming real for you, then it's becoming real for everybody, whether they know it or not, because you are everything. You reflect the universe. There's the micro, macro. Yeah. But I was in the sound chamber. I told you about the sound chamber. I was in the sound chamber one day, and I had 3 others with me, 2 ladies and a man. And we were doing sacred sounds with our voice, using our voice only. And the man was very deep voice. And he was really, really opening up channels, Yeah. And through one of those vortices came this sound. And I realized afterwards that only I could hear it. It was like that click, click, metal against metal and things. It was that sort of sound, scraping sound, like a wee mouse. And I listened to it for some time, and then I heard a rustling in the space between myself and the lady next to me, and I heard this rustling sound. And there's tree bark at the bottom of the sound chamber, you know. So we were sitting on this tree bark, and then, Laura, all of a sudden, I saw this figure, very tall. It was sitting down, extremely long legs, extremely long hands, and long arms, and extremely long head, and it just appeared there and then it disappeared straight away again. Because when it appeared, I was like, oh, and yeah, you see, your thinking mind will straight away go, oh, that can't be real, you know. So you come out of the trance, you know. And the other people there didn't see it, didn't hear it, but they could feel that there was something there, and they saw light, myriad light in that area. It was just, the light was like a dance of light. Isn't that
beautiful?
And I was like, oh my God, who's that? Is that my grandfather? from Syria, you know. And yeah, so, you know, I'm laughing, but I was taken when I was 6 years old. And I was taken again when I was 13 years old. And then I think I may have been about 36 or 37 whenever they started to sort of come in and say, remember me? But they come a lot.
The next 20 years we'll be in direct communication with many of these beings that we once knew.
I would say so.
I think so too.
So. Oh, we certainly were in Atlantean times in direct communication. Yeah, because I was present in an astral journey. I was present in a place what I call the Purple World, and there was a ceremony going on where the Crystal Keeper. So she had people all around her, all people from Atlantis, and she's the Crystal Keeper, and she's working with this massive clear quartz, and she's connecting to the stars through it. And then everyone in the circle receives a transmission from their star home. And I experienced that, and I received a transmission myself. I recognized the soul of the Crystal Keeper, a friend of mine called Lou, and it was just the most amazing experience. Out of that experience, I spoke about that experience when I was writing book 2 and about this little 4-year-old girl from Maria. And then out of that came this wee book, Maria and the Purple World.
Oh, beautiful.
Because, yeah, it was around that time that I had that experience. And then I was writing about the Purple World in book 2. And then I was sitting in a sauna one day, and Black Elk said to me, what about Maria and the Purple World? And I was like, okay. It's just like the moment he said it, I saw the book and I knew what it was, just in completion, you know. And I just went hoping I had it written in one day, because it's only a child's book, you know. So I like it. Look, there's the type of the writing, you know.
Oh, it's adorable. I love the little flower.
Maria goes to all these different stars that she sees in the sky. She goes to, they're all rainbow colors. There's 7 of them. And she goes to them all, from the red one to the purple one. And the child that's reading the book, or the book's being read to by a parent, will have the opportunity to travel with Maria and to affirm their rainbow colors, their chakras, you know. I mean, obviously they're not being encouraged to astral project, but you know, probably half of them do it anyway.
Most of the children are doing it anyway, you know.
Yeah, but they're encouraged to be mindful, you know, of their chakras and go within themselves to those places and really just affirm, their true colors.
I love that when people talk about these things with their children, because they get indoctrinated so often when they are growing up, and so to kind of educate them in this way, to teach them to talk to themselves, their intuition, their spirit team, and to understand these spiritual matters is one of the most empowering things you can do for children.
That's right, indeed. And I know a lot of young parents now who are bringing their children up with complete openness and honesty and clarity about who they are, where they come from, what life is, everything's connected, And have you got a small child as well?
I have a 9-year-old, and I don't beat around the bush. She knows everything that I know.
Yeah, good. That's brilliant. That's great.
And he's funny. He points out stuff to me all the time. He says things to me that I was like, wow, that is it. You know what I mean? He's just so brilliant.
Well, that's good, because he's 9, and it's great that he hasn't lost that, because usually, like, certainly when I was a child, I mean, I'm 60 now, but certainly whenever I was 5 years old, I was completely immersed in the spirit world, and was really living 2 worlds, living in that world more than this physical world. When I was 13, I just was shot out of it into this dark world, real shadow world. I was really immersed into the shadow world, but it was by higher plan that I do so, because
it's like training. It's training to see these things.
It was training.
Same here.
I was sent out into the wilderness to find white buffalo souls, little white lights like myself, so that they would remind me who I am. I can remind them who they are. That's what we do. And that's been successful. But that took 13 years to 36 years, which is what, 23 years? 23 years in the darkness, trying to commit suicide, yada, yada, yada. And then 36 came out of it. And it's been enlightenment all the way from since then. So really grateful.
My guide said it's almost like an arrow, like where you draw back the arrow deep, you go deep into the darkness, and the further you go back into the darkness, the further you actually propel yourself forward.
I love that.
Yes, it was a brilliant analogy, eh?
It is. It's brilliant. Who said that? That is brilliant.
I was one of the guides. One of my soul guides said it.
Oh, one of your soul guides. That is fantastic. So it is. Yes, that's brilliant. I love it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you can't, how can you understand yourself, or how can you understand anybody else if you haven't been to those places? If you haven't been to those places, you're not going to get to the lighter places. Because, yes, as you say, the further you go back, the further you go forward.
Your light, it's funny how, I don't know if it's the lighting, but every time you raise your hands, the light changes. And it's funny that it might just be a trick of the lighting, but
the windows facing me.
Yeah, exactly. It gives it a good dramatic effect.
Oh yeah, I just saw that. Yeah. Listen, I'm so sorry that we have to wrap up.
It's okay. I know you had an appointment today. I'm just so glad you made time for us today. So thank you.
I'm doing one of those deep shamanic journeys. I'm doing a neural pathways reset. So we have to go into the person's central nervous system and reset so many neural pathways. So that.
Do you mind just a little bit, just to where can people book something like that for you?
I'm just laughing at myself. Said, I have to go into that person's central nervous system and realign, and create some new neural pathways, just like that. But I've been doing this for so long.
But the work that I do, nothing surprises me anymore. I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah. My website's easy. www.elizawhitebuffalo.com. Thank you. And go to the web shop and you'll see all of the categories there. And there's a lot of free stuff. There's a lot of free spiritual resources and books and courses and whatnot that you're welcome to. And yes,
she's got a YouTube channel as well. Lots of lovely meditations on there. Yes.
There's free meditations, there's free healings and books and courses with our love and grace to you. Because as you heal yourself and evolve your own soul and lighten your energy field, you enlighten my world as well.
Oh, beautifully said, Eliza. Thank you so much for being with us today. It's really great to see you.
You are the light of my life.
Lots of love to Black Elk as well. It's always nice to have him around too.
And to your guides. Till the next time. Until the next time. Bye. And bye, everybody. Bye-bye. And thank you so much for listening.
Have a great day, everyone. Stay cool,
bye,
yeah?
Bye.
Especially you, Eliza. Lots of love, everyone.
I will. They're cool.
Bye, guys. See you tomorrow. Have a good one.